until something happened yesterday, and that is some controversial comments that we heard from Drew Brees, and I'm going to get right into it. In an interview with Yahoo Finance, Drew Brees said he could, quote, never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America. Brees said he stands with his teammates for their fight for equality, but also that he stands with family members who have served in the military. Brees was heavily criticized by many athletes, including teammates Michael Thomas and Malcolm Jenkins. Drew Brees did issue an apology this morning on Instagram. Shannon, your thoughts? Are you surprised by this? What's your reaction?
No, and what's made the black fight so hard is people like Drew Brees, Skip, because if you can't get a guy that grew up with blacks in the locker room, from pee-wee to high school to college to the NFL, to understand the black man's plight, who will? What about guys that's not around blacks on a daily basis, that have not been around blacks on a daily basis like Drew Brees? Drew Brees said something, Skip, that I found insulting, to be quite honest with you. He said, my grandfathers fought in World War II. I did not know two men won World War II, Skip. They should be commended. But did he know that black men fought alongside his grandfather in World War II, although in segregated militaries? Skip, they were fighting in a foreign land for a freedom that when they came home, they did not enjoy like Drew Brees' grandfathers did. Did Drew know that black men that wore military, when they came home, that were caught in their military uniforms, a lot of times were beaten, jailed, and even killed? Does he realize that, Skip, that every war that's ever been fought in American history, black men have fought valiantly in that war? In the Revolutionary War, Skip, they said the blacks were fighting for their master's freedom, freedoms that they were not going to get, even though they were told, if you pick up arms and fight alongside us, upon you returning, you could gain your freedom. When they came back home, Skip, guess what? They were enslaved again. And a lot of reasons, Skip, George Washington signed the Military Act in 1792 saying blacks couldn't join the military. They fought so well, and some of the officers said they fought so well and valiantly, he took it out. But guess what the British did? British said, if you run away and fight with us, we'll give you your freedom. And immediately George Washington rescinded the order. I can't believe you, Drew. What would make you think at this moment, Skip, 8-9 days after George Floyd had lost his life, that you would bring up the military and the flag again, Skip? I told you, Skip, if you want to talk about B, and I don't want to talk about B, I'm going to talk about C, I'm going to talk about D, I'm going to talk about everything except what you want to talk about, because that's an issue I do not want to face. Drew, blacks fought in World War II alongside your grandfather and did not have the freedoms that they had when they came home, Skip, although they had sacrificed the exact same thing as his grandfathers did. So let me get this straight, Skip. I sacrifice as much as you do in a foreign land fighting for freedom for people that when I get home, I don't get. And Drew's like, that flag means so much. Drew, do you realize, think about the black man, that flag, for 250 years in slavery, another 150 years of 100 years of Jim Crow. And so you automatically assume that a black man should feel the same pride for the flag as you and your grandfathers? Skip, that's what makes me upset, Skip, is that some think that only whites served in the military. Man, that flag means so much. My grandfather, my great-grandfather. I guarantee you, if you poll some players in the NFL, they have grandfathers or great-grandfathers that served in World War II and World War I. Skip, this is what was said. In August of 1917, there was a senator from Missouri named James Vardaman, and he warned that once a black soldier was allowed to see himself as an American hero, it was one step to the conclusion that his political rights must be respected. Bringing black soldiers home to the South with the expectation of equality, he predicted, would inevitably lead to disaster. He said black soldiers as potential community leaders would be terrifying and a disaster and would be a mass movement for the African-American rights. Even though they went overseas to fight for freedoms, when they came home, they were not to enjoy that. And Drew Brees still doesn't seem to get it. Now, he issued an apology, Skip, but it's meaningless because the guys know that he spoke his heart the very first time around.
Correct.
Now, I don't know what Drew's going to do, but he probably should just go ahead and retire now. It will never be the same. Take it from a guy that's been a leader in a locker room for a number of years. At every step, Skip, I've been the leader in the locker room. what he said, they're going to like, oh, yeah, no, they will never look at him the same because he spoke his heart and skipped and what he said, it wasn't what he said, it's how he said it. He was defiant. I will never respect the man. Even after all this, nobody had even mentioned the flag. He brought that up on his own. Drew, I don't know what you was thinking. I don't know what you hoped to accomplish. But whatever you hoped to accomplish, it failed miserably. Black people have been fighting for this country, even though they did not get the rights that the flag said. That flag that skipped, I thought the flag meant something. See, I get the flag, the cloth that wave in the wind as the wind blows, but it means something. It's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to mean everything for all people, freedoms, liberties. But if the black man doesn't have the same freedoms and liberty as the white, what good is the flag? And Drew thinks that, well, I got me, that's what it means to me. I feel a sense of pride, a sense of honor. Everybody doesn't feel like that, Drew, because it hadn't represented them in the exact same way.
I hear every word you just spoke. And once again, your words are so real and so raw and so genuine and authentic that it gives me chills over here on this side. And back to Jenny's question about my level of surprise, I was not surprised by his apology. And I also was not surprised by what he said yesterday. And I am with you. I believe Drew Brees showed you his true colors yesterday. And I'm not going to completely condemn him as a bad man.
No.
He's not a bad man. But he's not ignorant. He's not unaware of all that has gone on.
It's called willful ignorance.
Yeah, it's willful. But it's to me, it's just willful insensitivity. And he did admit to being insensitive in his apology. But let's look harder at Drew Brees, shall we? He is a staunch Republican. He is arch conservative. His father was a prominent trial lawyer in Austin, Texas, and Drew grew up in an affluent community in Austin. His mother was also an attorney, successful attorney. And as you point out, and that he loves to point out, both his grandfathers served in World War II, and one fought in the Battle of Okinawa. That is what he is at the utmost proud of. Drew Brees is blindly about God and country. God and country. He can't see past his view of God and country.
Correct.
And he always talks about what he calls the 4 F's: faith, family, football, and this is a PHF, philanthropy.
Right.
And to his credit, he has given lots of money to the Katrina cause, obviously, in New Orleans. He's given a lot of his time to charity. We know that.
Right.
And Drew Brees has been, and I'm going to underline has been, one of the most popular quarterbacks in the history of this league. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I believe he has been.
Skip, and if I'm not mistaken, he won NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year.
2006. It's been a while, but he did win that award.
Yes.
Okay? We get that. But now we get to, I think he was asked a question. I could be wrong about this because I kept seeing his answer, but I'm not exactly sure of the question.
Right.
But I think the original question was about how would you feel if players this coming season resurrected what Colin Kaepernick obviously started 4 years ago, was the pioneer trailblazer in all this. He decided first to sit for the anthem, then to kneel for the anthem.
Correct.
How would you feel, Drew Brees? And he gave the answer that hit all your hottest buttons, which is, I will never, that was the word he used, I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America. So what he's telling you is that he feels just as strongly about disrespecting the flag as the black community feels about the murderous disrespect with which you have been treated for hundreds of years, or at least this century, by policemen in this country.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So to me, a Drew Brees who has always been so careful about saying and doing exactly the right thing, so conscious of public relations, that he feels so staunchly and strongly about the flag. It unifies all of us. Drew, the black community is crying out for help. And he steps into the breach of what is happening before our very eyes. I believe much of white America just got woke. I do. I do. I'm seeing an outpouring of younger white Americans at the protests.
Yes.
I'm still watching the protests, most of them, the ones here in Southern California yesterday, and you keep using the word droves. They are coming out more in bigger droves and bigger droves.
Yes.
And I'm seeing more and more younger white people right there with their black brothers and sisters. They're trying. They're trying. They're saying, we're here for you. Now, what can we do? Well, eyes and ears are as open. Help me out. But I think they're as open as they've ever been from younger white America, right?
I believe so.
And so the next thing you have to do is you have to go vote, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But the point is, what has been the unifying flashpoint for this country? It's that video. Shannon, I've been around for a while. In all my years, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I have never seen as vile and evil a video as that video. I don't know how many times I've watched it, at least a dozen. And I think I've hit the point of no return. But I also think that video has become a turning point for this country because this is just me, and I'm old enough to have a feeling for this. For many years, black men were lynched in this country back into the previous 2 centuries, throughout the 1900s, all the way up to maybe the 60s. They were lynched across the southern part of this country.
Yes.
That video, to me, was as close to a public lynching. Again, I don't have video of any of those lynchings. I've seen the pictures of the black men hanging from the trees, but I don't have a video. I got to see the modern day equivalent to me of a lynching in that George Floyd's neck is pinned to the ground. He's basically being publicly lynched. That's, again, I'm probably overstating it, but I get as emotional, almost as emotional as you do about this. And for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and for the last 2:53, he's dead. And still, I see a brazen, arrogant white man with his hands in his pocket, just crushing with his knee the neck of this man. It's like a concrete lynching to me on the concrete. Okay, this is the breach into which Drew Brees just stepped. He stepped in it, right? And whether it's willful ignorance or however, he doesn't get what just happened to this country. It could be a watershed moment. It could be a tipping point where finally enough people did, of all races, besides the black community, but suddenly you have some sympathetic eyes and ears around this country I don't think you've ever had before. And now a prominent white player, and again, the black community has been crying out for, please Tom Brady, please Aaron Rodgers. Aaron's always been great about this.
Unbelievable.
He has been. He did.
You heard what he said, Skip? It was never about that. It wasn't then. It isn't now.
He's been tremendous about it. He's been your biggest supporter of the superstar white quarterback. Yet, here's for me what crystallized the moment yesterday. The receiver who caught a record number of passes last year, an NFL record number from Drew Brees, is named Michael Thomas. He posted one line on Twitter, just one line that just galvanized everything for me. And he says about Drew Brees, he didn't name Drew Brees, but everybody knew who he was talking about. He don't know enough to know. He don't know enough to know. You just said that in many more words, powerful words. He don't know enough to know. Okay, it's as simple as that. Malcolm Jenkins, his new teammate, who knows Drew Brees, not as a teammate, but just as a competitor.
They used to be, they were teammates before.
Oh, they were. They were. I'm sorry, he started there.
He got drafted by the Saints.
That's a good point. But he's just now joining the Saints, so we're going to see how that works out when they actually go to camp and virtual ends and camp begins. And to your point, we'll see how this plays. But it took Malcolm Jenkins he just couldn't help it. He took down the first video because he was just over-emotional. He thought he overreacted a little bit, but then he posted a couple of more. And he nailed it because he's saying, Drew, unfortunately, you are part of the problem. You are. Because I've known a lot of men like Drew Brees. You could argue this country was founded on men like Drew Brees, right? Yeah. With that same point of view. It's bullheaded, it's blind, it's God and country.
Skip, I think the thing is that if you notice, And last night, they at 9 o'clock, you were supposed to go outside with a flashlight, and I ended up doing it at 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I think when it crystallizes, if you think about it, try and hold your breath for a minute, for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, for 4 minutes. And if you go into a courtroom, Skip, in order to grasp the attention of the jury, sometimes they would do things, when mass murder, and I can't remember, I don't know if it was Gacy or not, but Skip, they took 33 pictures of the young men that he had killed, and each one by one, they threw him in a hole because he had buried them in the crawl space. And you can see the jury. That's one. That's 33. So now when you count 1 minute, 2 minutes, and the attorney is going to say, okay, guys, I want you, if you got a watch on, I want you to set your clock. And he said, I want you to set it to 8 minutes and 43 seconds, and I don't want you to say a word. And I don't want you to breathe. Hold your breath as long as you can and realize what this man was going to. Skip, it's a painful death. It was not instantaneous. It was painful. Skip, it wasn't until 1948 when Truman signed the executive order 9981, in which he desegregated the military. So in other words, the military that you valiantly speak of has been very disrespectful for the black man. Because even the GI Bill, when it came home and blacks were supposed to be allowed to get money and to buy nice homes, that wasn't how it happened, Skip. The medals that they fought for and won for bravery and valor and heroism, they didn't get those. They had to fight for them, and a lot of them was awarded those medals posthumously, meaning they got their flowers after they were dead. Where white men was coming home and getting medal after medal after medal. And Drew somehow thinks that the flag is supposed to mean the exact same thing for a black man as a white man, when this country has never been the same for a black man as a white man. Drew, what country do you live in? You live in a country that has afforded you privileges and luxury that the black man has never been afforded and received. And you're so set in your ways that you were unwilling. Skip, I remember I told you, Skip, the man that can't see isn't the blindest. It's the one that chooses not to see. Drew Brees chooses to make this about the flag as opposed to the plight of the unarmed black men and women being killed in this America. That's what he wants to make it about because he doesn't want to talk about it. And Skip, I don't care. They use some if you notice when Malcolm Jenkins said, I used to respect you. Used to, that's past tense.
Yep.
Some called him ignorant. Emmanuel Sanders just got there, shaking my head, ignorant. Mike Thomas, as you mentioned, Skip, around the league, LeBron James weighed in. Wow.
Did he?
Man. Even after he told you it was not about the flag, you still making it about the flag. Skip, in this minefield, Skip, even if you felt that way, why would you verbalize it in this climate at this moment?
Not now. Agreed. Okay, back to one of your original points. You were one of the great leaders in the history of this league.
Yes.
You have also told me that many times you had to play alongside a man you knew was at heart racist or maybe whose politics or
didn't align with mine.
Did not align.
Yes.
And at some point you have to give it up.
Yeah.
You have to make peace with it, and you have to go to battle with him just because that's just the circumstance under which teams are built.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Now we're talking about the leader of the team, the face of the franchise, a pantheon quarterback who, by the way, has all the records.
All of them.
Every record belongs to Drew Brees.
Yep.
Completions, yards, touchdown passes. He leads in every category all time.
Yes.
So now it's that guy attempting to re-seize the lead of the team through an apology, and then I'm sure there'll be more verbals, more calls to be made to, again, he called Malcolm yesterday. He'll probably call him back and try to work through it again after things calm down.
Right.
But you're saying, your gut feeling is right now, the team unity has been cracked.
Yeah. Oh,
where you can't fix the crack.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Skip, I believe they're going to say all the possible things. We're going to rally behind this and all that. But they will never look at Drew Brees the same. Because, and Skip, if I'm hurting, if I'm crying the most, this is not the time to abandon me. This is not the time for you to interject and say, well, Skip, if I'm crying, I'm hurt. You can't come to me and tell me, well, man, hey, I broke my foot too. I'm hurting too, bro.
No.
And that's what he did.
That's what it was.
He made it that his cause Man, y'all disrespecting the flag hurts me just as much as unarmed black men and women getting killed in America. Drew, for real, Drew?
Well, so in the big picture, will this damage his legacy? Yeah. I think it does.
Oh, yeah. They're going to bring that up. I mean, Skip, I don't think he's to the extent of Ty Cobb, but you cannot mention Ty Cobb. Yeah, he has the highest lifetime batting average. Yes, he won the Triple Crown. Yes, he won, 9 batting titles. But you can't say that without saying the other part of his legacy. And people will remember what Drew Brees said in 2020. Yeah, he might have all the records. But, man, you remember when Drew was so insensitive to the plight of the black man when he had an opportunity to step to the forefront and help?
Yep, I hear you.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.